What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Monday night right here at HotMakes on the Edge of Tech, where we aim to educate and entertain the maker community. To my left, Pooch, how you doing?
I'm good. This is Tech. This is the Edge. We're right here, riding it.
Right in the side there. Yeah. Right in between your thumbs missing, and I got your nose.
That's right. You got to practice all that now that you got your boy, right? You know, there you go.
I'm gonna have to.
All the tricks.
Well, we got some awesome people in the chat. Welcome everybody that's here, and we have an awesome guest today. We got some really cool stuff. We got a Tanner3D's in the house, so we're gonna get him on in a minute. We have a couple HotMess. That doesn't sound right. And a couple HotMakes, and we'll go from there. So I think we should jump right into it. First of all, how you been?
Dude, I am good. Let me tell you something. So it has been hot. It's crazy because I talked to you and it's like monsoon season. It's always raining over there. It's been hotter than Hades here. And my AC has been out for the last like 2 weeks.
Oh,
and
no.
normally it's not a big deal because I'm down at the shop or whatever. And by the time I get home, open up all the windows, turn on the whole house fan. It's great. But lately it just hasn't been cooling off at night. And so finally the HVAC company came out today. And of course, it ended up just being something simple, like they just had to replace the starting capacitor on the whole thing. But it took like 2 weeks to get an appointment, and AC's blowing cold again. He said my fan levels were optimal.
Nice. You got a new flux capacitor.
Exactly. Everybody talks about it. It's got flux capacitor.
Where was Sergio when you need him? HVAC A to Z.
You know, and that's the thing. I was like, I could probably just get on YouTube and diagnose this and stuff. It's just I haven't had time. It's up on the roof. I'm not falling off the roof again. So you know,
we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to do that. Well, I've been rocking, working a lot, hanging out with the little man. He's doing awesome. He's doing great. And my new obsession, if you haven't seen Twitter, is these clock spring boxes.
Oh, dude, I love 3D stuff.
I am in love.
They're so good, right? And the guy, it's like what I love about those models is it's like you get this great insight. Just show them off. I'll just talk while you're doing this. Yeah. Into just like the mechanical mental workings of somebody else's mind, right? Like like it's just so neat to see the way that other people like kind of think about design and you know fun stuff to do.
Well, all of them are print in place with no supports, right? And so
we got time for supports.
There's this one. It turns like that. If I could show it, and it opens up. Maybe there we go.
Are you going for the whole library? Are you gonna do the whole clock spring library?
I think I printed the whole library in the last week because here's another one.
Is that the vault? Yeah. Is that the dumpster one? Wait, where's
yeah. Like this.
I feel like that's a variant. No. I think that's the one I'm thinking. No, there was a different one.
It was. This one was. Well, I wish I could remember all the names.
It's like Oscar the Grouch's evil lair.
Right. And I had a couple failures. You know what's funny is the right here. You can see them. I have two failures. The first one was a heart box, and I printed that on an Ender 5 that I clearly need to tune a little better. And the second one was a really big print, and it took quite a while, and I broke the handle because it wasn't quite spinning right. But most of all these except for one have been done on that Ender 3 V2 with a default profile from Prusa Slicer.
I saw the beta profile, right? Because it's funny how I like what they're going in Prusa Slicer by one, obviously doing other people's printers as well, and trying to create a more robust printer library, right? So right now, I think that's the only Prusa profile that's in. And now people have made profiles and shared them and stuff.
Right.
Come stock, which is cool to see. So I hope we see more of that
on a brand new printer. And with that profile, it's crazy. But so that's been my new thing. I've been throwing those out there, and I love the clock spring stuff. Is my first patron that I paid for. Patron. Yeah. So I bought the subscription because I was like, I got to have these things.
And we're going to, well worth the money, right? I mean, there's so many awesome creators on Patreon, and it's like, you wish you could support them all. And, all that stuff. And we're going to talk to a great one today.
Right. I was just going to, that was my segue. I think we should bring them in. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's just bring them in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tanner3D.
What's up?
Ricky Lee Tanner.
Ricky Tanner, right?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there. You know,
You've had a lot of change, my friend, over the last couple months, weeks. I mean,
Yes.
haven't we all? But
Right.
you in
Yes.
particular.
My wife and I are going to be homeowners now. So
That's exciting. In
Yes.
in a crazy time too to be getting
crazy time.
new
But
house.
you know
Tell us a little bit about that. What's you guys found a house? Where is it?
We're going to be about 20 miles closer to Nashville now than we are presently. So once my wife got a job working downtown as well, it just kind of made more sense that, I'd been making that long drive since we got here. But
Sure.
now that both of us were, it was like, okay, that's, like 600 miles a week just driving to work.
Wow.
On both vehicles.
I always say life is too long to be spending in the car. So that's an awesome, leg up for you guys both. And now, for people who don't know who you are, what you do, and all that stuff, tell them like what is it you do in Nashville? What is
I'm
your background?
Well, when we're not shut down because of COVID-19, I'm a singer on Lower Broadway in Nashville for a living. And so right now I've got a little free time because all the bars are shut down until at least, as the mayor says, July 31st. So we'll see. But right now, free time isn't free because it's being spent doing stuff, getting prepared for the move and getting all the I's dotted and T's crossed on getting a new house. And it's like I got that rep box from you, and it's still in the box because I'm like, there's no point in me putting it together right now
because you're gonna have to move it anyway, right?
Because it'll probably get broken if I put it together during the move. I was like, so I'm just gonna leave it in the box, and when it gets to its final home later,
right,
I'll unbox it and put it together.
I gotta ask,
I can't wait to see that.
Was that an analog phone that just rang there, Pooch? You still got like a corded phone from my grandma's house?
No, it was just one of my text message sound effects that I had on my cell phone. I don't have.
Nice. Well, no, that's awesome, man. I'm sorry that you're shut down. I'm sorry you can't play music, but has it given you a lot of time to work on the other stuff that you do? It
has. And it's funny because I've probably started a half a dozen different projects right now that none of them are done. A lot of them are getting close. Like I started the other day on a 1/18 scale like futuristic skid steer.
Nice.
And that came from me looking at pictures of wishing and wanting to have a skid steer myself because now I'm going to have 3 acres to play with.
Awesome.
So I'm like, I would really like to have a skid steer and do stuff with it.
A skid steer is a handy thing to have, man, especially nowadays where you can put like Bobcats, man, you can put everything on them, man. Post hole diggers, like all kinds of accessories. Yeah. I had an awesome backhoe when I was out on property, and I did everything I possibly could with that thing. I love that.
And I'm going to have to do a little bit of brush hogging because the back half acre of our property leads down to a creek.
Nice.
But you can't get to the creek right now because that back half acre is completely
overgrown, huh?
Overgrown.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wish I had, brush hog to push through all that stuff.
Nice.
There you go.
TK says he's still trying to catch you up on Candy Crush.
I don't play Candy Crush as much as I do the Candy Crush Friends. That one, I enjoy that one more.
So, Candy Crush just totally threw me off. I love it. So I've been watching, like I see on streams a lot. This is the first time I think we've actually been on stream together.
I think
even though I've seen on everybody else's streams. I think you and Llama were making something recently.
You guys were designing some one-man attack subs. Yes,
that's what it was. That's right. Because I've been. It's funny because I haven't been necessarily talking a lot in the chats, but when I'm sitting there with the little man, I'll throw like the streams on. Everybody's streaming right now. Dan and you and Justin. And Zolan has been streaming. Everybody's streaming.
Well, I haven't been streaming from my channel. I've been just joining everybody else.
Oh, you've been joining, yeah. And so I'll throw it on there, but I won't talk much because that requires me to interact, and I can't do that when I'm feeding him and stuff. So I'll just sit there and like stalk in the background, right?
You're a lurker. I'm
a lurker.
Because the next thing I want to stream doing is I want to start over on this guy.
Your articulated action figure there, yeah.
Yes, I want to start over. Because I learned a lot of things while making this one, and learned a lot of things that I could have done better.
Let me pop you in there. Let's see. What is it? Oh, there you go. Oh, that's cool.
Let's jump back a second because we dipped in, and I know a lot of people here. You've been on their streams, and a lot of people, but like they know. Okay, so you're a professional musician, but then you've built kind of a name for yourself here as a designer and a modeler, and you're self-taught and all that stuff. So like,
yes,
before you jump into that, like, is that like talk about some of the stuff where you got your start, what tools you're using, what got you into it?
Well, about 2 years ago. A little over 2 years ago now, that's when I kind of realized that 3D printing had become, you can hear that it's thundering like crazy out here. 3D printing had become attainable for, you didn't have to be a millionaire to afford your own 3D printer.
Right.
So, and I've always had a passion for toys. I'm a toy collector. I have been my whole life. My wife says that our garage looks like a Goodwill threw up because I'll pick up toys like from my childhood era that I'll find at Goodwill for 99 cents or whatever. And I used to find ones that, were broken and missing pieces. And then I would disassemble them and put them together and use styrene to, tack it all together and make something totally different, paint it up and all that. And I was like, if I could sit down with a 3D program, I could design the stuff from scratch and print it myself. And then I wouldn't need to shop at Goodwill and buy broken toys so much and make my wife happier. And so I have my education background is I got an associate's degree in computer programming and a bachelor's in digital entertainment and game design. So in that process, I learned 3D Studio Max and used to have it on my computer and all that kind of stuff. Well, 3D Studio Max, to buy a new version of it was prohibitively expensive.
Right.
Yeah. Like way outside of any kind of budget that I could possibly imagine. So I sat down and went, okay, well, what are the free options out there or low cost options? And so I got to, searching, and I had heard of Blender, but I'd never really used it.
Right.
And when I came across Blender, I'm like, it's open source. It's totally free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Some of the add-ons and stuff you can get for it do cost, but rarely do they cost more than, 20, 30, 40 bucks.
Reasonably
so
okay.
It didn't sound insane to me to just go down this path. So I downloaded Blender and I started. Now, granted, I got the opportunity to start from somebody who had been actually trained in 3D Studio Max.
Nice.
And take that perspective from it. So it didn't take me long. The learning curve was much shorter for me.
Sure. Sure. So you started model. This is what, how long ago? 2 years ago?
Just a little over 2 years now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. 2 years in.
And so I'm 2 years in now. And every design that I make, I learn from, learn how to do some things better. One of the biggest turning points for me design-wise was actually the Rep Ranger that you commissioned me to make.
Yeah. Which I love. And it has evolved into just a much larger ecosystem of
Absolutely.
At this point.
There are now like 10 different versions of the Rep Ranger.
Yeah.
For the most part, it was my first step into minimizing supports needed when printing and making the designs more modular and more easy to assemble. Right. Because before, like my VSV, which you can find on Thingiverse and on Prusa Printers website, my VSV is a great vehicle. I love it, but it requires a lot of support. Yep. And it's very difficult to put together. It's not for the faint of heart. It's a real project. If you want to undertake the VSV, you're going to put some time in. You're going to, sure. And you're going to put some filament in because there's going to be some support and some waste.
Sure. Right.
But I sat down now understanding 3D printing better, understanding design better. I sat down and went, okay, well, maybe I can't completely eliminate support because of the way some things have to be.
Right.
But how can I break this design down to minimize the amount of supports and to make the assembly process quicker and easier for people? Because not very many people were printing and putting my stuff together because it was difficult.
Right. Well, and that's a hard thing to do. I in no way can model much at all or anything, maybe a box. But from what I hear and what I like see you talk and some of the other designers out there, I mean, doing with little or no supports is actually kind of hard.
Yes.
especially depending on what you're making. Like, like these, like your stuff is going like these clock spring boxes. I mean, they're crazy, but some of the stuff you put together, like your the Rep Ranger and stuff, you couldn't do some of that stuff without supports, right? I mean,
right. I mean, like this is the Rep Ranger. This is actually the prototype. This is the very first one.
The OG. Yeah.
Yes. So this is the prototype of the Rep Ranger.
Such a cool model, man. I love that.
So when I designed it, the whole thing was to try and minimize the supports necessary. So you end up with, I think, let's see, what prints with supports here?
Not much.
Not much, really. I think there's a tiny little bit that ends up under the corners of the front bumper here.
Right.
That snaps off real easy. It's not a problem.
Well, and a lot of that.
There's not much.
What's interesting, so I remember having this conversation with you, and I'm a big fan of modular design, which is another aspect I really love about the Rep Ranger, because there's all these accessories that go in those little hex pegs that you design, which is really awesome too, which we can get to in a second if you want to show that off. But when we were talking about, you were saying like, okay, my goal for this, I remember you saying like, okay, I did the VSV, but now I know how much work that was to get together. I really want to maximize like what it's going to take. But now as an artist, and there's an aesthetic to it too, obviously you've learned, because you're not just designing, you design and you print and you know the whole process soup to nuts. There's times where it's like you want to do that grill stood up because you get a lot more of that detail on that Z-axis, right? Like where it's coming up. And so there's times where it might have been able to print without supports if you just laid it down, but it wouldn't look as good, right? And so you have to kind of weigh that balance, with it as you're putting together. And it's nice that you've kind of developed a lot more snap together too. So there's some obviously glue or gloop together.
Right.
You've gotten more to like, hey, how can we do this without, make it easier for people to put together, which makes it more accessible. More people are going to print it,
The Rep Ranger glues here and here.
Right.
And then you glue in the steering wheel.
And that's it.
But that's it. Everything else is snap fit together.
Which I think a lot of people just don't have. If you've never been through that process and never had to, mentally get to that point, you don't appreciate just the art that is in that design in and of itself. So
I can go back.
Kudos to you on that, of course.
Yeah, for sure. It takes so much time.
It's one of my older designs.
Yes, I love these designs. Yeah,
nice.
It's called the Scorpion.
Yeah.
Which most of my designs, they come out of me wanting to try one particular feature or function.
Yeah.
This whole thing was born because I wanted to see if I could use 3D printed springs.
Yeah.
So then I had to make a vehicle that would utilize those springs in some way.
Nice.
Steven
just made a comment that I'm not going to share on the screen, but it's hilarious. He said he clipped off those pins and flopped the crap out. He didn't know it snapped together.
Those are snapped together. And then my latest creation, which if you are a subscriber to the Profi box, this was a model included for the June Profi box.
Nice. And where can we find
Mr. Buttram named it? Mr. Buttram is amazing at naming things.
Yeah.
He named this the Swift, and it's an acronym for something. So the Swift, it also kind of snaps together, but I went a little bit different route. Instead of using the snap connectors, it press fits together using the hex pegs.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
So you can take it back apart again after you've put it together.
And that means you could change out axles, you could change out wheels, you could have all sorts of different styles and then change that thing out as much as you want, right?
Right. Because these snap connectors, once they're together,
they're together. Yeah.
You're gonna break it trying to take it apart again.
So we have a really good question. I'm a design student. Let's see here. I'm an industrial design student, and we're starting in SolidWorks student regarding CAD design. Do you make the out box or each part at a time? I'm not. Maybe I'm missing something there, but
well, maybe it would
that make sense to you.
Yeah.
Do you make the out box or one each part at his time. Oh,
Are you designing the components individually, or do you start with the whole thing?
I start with the whole thing and then break it apart.
Sorry, I know they watch. They're a long time watcher. I wish I could pronounce his name, but sorry about that. So you start with the whole creation and then you break it down.
Right.
Gotcha.
Like certain things, like the back hatch and stuff on this, that started as one piece, and then I cut it apart in Blender afterwards. And one of the cool features of the Swift is the engine cover is removable. So if you can get get in there and get a good look at the engine, I can design some other engines for it later, because the engine is also.
I was going to say, is the engine modular? That's awesome.
The engine is also removable.
So you could do colors.
Put a big old supercharger blower on the back of it or something. Wow. Yeah, that's so cool.
So yeah, I design all this stuff so that it can be taken apart, so that you can use other pieces on it.
That's awesome.
And then, like I said, with each model, I learn something. I learned a better way to do canopies than what I did back in the day. Nice. When I started, canopies had, and this isn't glued together, so I can take it apart here and show you. Had these, I made these little print in place hinges,
right,
and then they would be glued in place.
Right.
Gotcha.
There. But then, when I did the dagger here,
whoa,
which is my biggest model ever.
That's phenomenal.
That's the intended size, or you actually scaled that up? So that's 100% size.
Yes.
How many print? How many pieces did you have to part that into to get it printed?
Well, there is the nose cone here, then this piece behind the nose cone, then the section here with where the canopy goes.
All done vertically. Yeah.
Right. The big red body section here, and the wings. The wings require the biggest printer.
Sure.
Everything else could be printed on. You could print everything else on a Prusa.
Nice.
The wings, you're going to need a CR10 or something of that size.
So like a 300 by 300 at least.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because of the shape of the wings, there's really no way to do it any other way. I looked at maybe trying to section them off, but there was no good way to do it without you bump the wing into something, the wing breaks or comes apart.
Right.
Do it, Greg. I want to see it printed out, make it fly.
Yeah.
We'd love
he
to
said
see
he wants to slap a radio transmitter on that thing and see how it flies. I like it. I forgot he was the RC. Yeah, Greg is the person. Greg's the RC plane guy. I have an RC plane over here I'm never going to use. It's a gas-powered plane. It's really old. My uncle gave it to me like when I was 18, so 20 years ago. And I couldn't remember who I was supposed to send stuff to. So thanks, Greg.
So learning better ways to do canopies.
Look at that.
Nice.
I see exactly where you went.
So now that that squeezes just enough to allow it to snap into the holes for the
detents. Yeah.
And that can be printed in PLA. It won't break, right?
Right. Because that's all I print in is PLA.
Nice.
So that is also present on the canopy for the Swift, and I just lost my steering wheel, which
very nice.
Does not hold infallibly because it was glued.
That's cool. Nice.
So it's the same type of hinge on that. Where did my steering
wheel
go? There it is.
That's a great idea. I mean, those tabs are awesome because you can pop them out again at modular. You can change colors. So I had this sweet. While we're sitting here talking, go ahead. I'll finish.
I'm just saying. So like that, I've taken it all the way down to this. Now I did gloop these in because they're the way the design came out. They're only held in by one hex peg. I've been thinking of re-engineering that, but that'll require a different frame. So these are glooped in. These are permanent, but everything else, it came back completely back apart.
Nice. So my question, I mean, what would be really cool is say you're at Murph 21 because Earth isn't happening either, right?
Right.
You bring yourself one down and then ask people to print theirs and bring them with them. And then everyone could interchange a piece and go home with a completely
that's
crazy model of, hey, here's a Pooch piece. Here's a Tanner, a Tanner piece. Here's a Ricky Tanner piece. Here's a whoever piece. And then I get home with a completely individual model that I could have never had before because all these different people, printed it. And you could even sign it.
That's a great play on a community build, Jim. I really love it. And you have a functional. Well, it's a functional. So hopefully everybody can maintain the spec.
Make sure you have a full car when you leave.
Yeah. But I like that. I think that's a cool way, and everybody gets a part of a community build by basically printing one model. And then it reminds me, when the soccer players go play and then they trade jerseys at the end, but you're trading parts of 3D printed pieces. That's cool.
And I just started playing with drones, and I have a DJI Phantom, and people are talking about planes and cars and all the thing in the chat. And I started playing with the first person view, the FPV, raised it little. I got a little tiny drone, so if I crash it, it's not killer in price. But if anyone out there plays with drones, chat me because I need more. I'm addicted, man. The first time you put those goggles on and fly, it's crazy.
And they're fast, man. They're fast. I mean, I know there's different classes and stuff because there's whole leagues and stuff around here that are competitive with the drone racing.
Right. But, and Greg's Maker Corner says, Greg says DJIs are a great way to start. Yes, except that I'm so used to the GPS locking everything. It's so easy to fly my Phantom 3. I think I have a Phantom 3 Pro. It's so easy to fly that when I get into one of these, it drifts. It's like, I got to fix that. But now he's talking about his figurine. Let's check that out.
So this has been a labor of love, and it's been very frustrating. I've got it to work, all the parts to work in FDM.
Yeah.
But the ultimate goal is for it to be printable, resin printable. Okay. Because of the details that you'll be able to get on something of this scale. And I'm realizing that the tolerances are so much different between FDM and resin that it's just too hard to fix everything on this one. So I'm going to start from scratch.
So that's interesting. So talk about that a second, because designing for FDM versus designing for resin. So your tolerances can be and generally are that much tighter for a resin. So when you were doing your designs for the FDM version, that means you had to kind of leave a lot more slop in the model.
Yes.
To account for that variance. And so when you said you went to go do a resin, it was just
Robbie Mack, who you see in the chat and stuff a lot, printed some and mailed them to me in resin.
Yep.
And they will not go together.
Interesting. And when you say what is it about the way, because obviously designing even something at that size requires just a lot more. There's a lot more failing going to happen there as you kind of trial and error go through it. And so when you got these resin pieces from Robbie Mack, what is it that exactly, like, where was it off? How was it off?
Well, the crazy thing is it didn't seem to be consistently off the same way from one joint to the next. And when you're talking about 21 points of articulation and you go, okay, well, that one's too tight, but that one's too loose, but they all snap right on this.
So that's interesting. So do you think it had anything to do with the printer he was using or anything? Like if you were to throw calipers on it, was it where it was supposed to be based on what the STL was?
Well, and some of it I think is the nature of how the type of joints that I used aren't conducive to being resin printed.
Okay.
Like a ball and socket, and you would have a place where the socket wasn't quite perfectly spherical, and you try to press the sphere of the ball joint into it. Yep. And it wouldn't fit.
And it's just not as forgiving either, right? Because it's more rigid. Right. Yeah. Yes. Interesting. So you'll get more flex in a PLA, like a FDM print, a lot of the time as it springs into place or snaps in. So the assembly component of it is all interesting.
Because I've got the parts here in a bag. You see, where did the one that I got close to assembling one? Oh, he's in there.
While he's doing that, I just want to comment on, I love seeing how his printer collection has grown. Because I remember when I first met him, he'd just got a CR10, I think, was one of your first. What was the first printer you got?
The first printer I got was a Tronxy X1.
But you were designing before you even had a printer, right? Like
Yes.
you couldn't even print what you were designing for a long time.
No, I was designing and putting stuff on Thingiverse, and I didn't even own a printer.
Yeah. So that's an amazing start right there. And now it looks like you've got 5 back there, 4. You got
There's the TiVo Tornado.
Yeah.
Which its dimensional accuracy sucks.
Yeah.
So I almost never use it.
Yep.
My CR10S4, which is my main workhorse, that gets 99% of my printing, and it's got a Bondtech direct drive on it, and most recently a TH3D flex plate on it.
Nice.
And that's what I use for pretty much everything. Then there's the ANET A8 that I picked up on Craigslist. That was my second printer.
The old Sparky, yeah.
I got it on. I picked it up on Craigslist for $70 one night.
Nice.
That's a deal.
I was like, I can't go wrong here. I can part it out for get $70 worth of parts off of it.
Sure.
So, I picked it up and it prints okay. I just don't trust it to be printing when I'm not watching it.
Right.
Fair.
The X1 is still down there. It doesn't ever get used anymore. It collects dust now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it collects dust now.
Yeah.
It was never a good printer. I still love it. It works. It does what it's supposed to. The print quality is not great.
Right.
And it was sent to me by Chris Riley. Chris Riley, because that was my first printer. One day after one of his streams, he reached out to me and he said, "You've been designing all this cool stuff and you've been hanging out in my streams and stuff and participating with the community." He's like, "You need a printer, dude." He's like, "I got a printer that I'll send you if you'll pay for the shipping. It's not a good printer, but I'll send it to you if you want it." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So it was like $20 shipping, and he shipped it to me. And there was a lot of him walking me through my first printer and making it functional.
Nice.
Once I got it in pieces from him and putting it back together and making it work. And then I undertook trying to print stuff, and all my vehicles, I was having to slice them up into so many pieces because the max build area stock is 150 by 150 by 150.
Right.
And he put a parts cooling fan on it that took like 10 millimeters off the X. So I had 140 by 150 by 150 was all I had. And so that's when I set out on I needed a bigger printer, and I got the CR10S4 from Robbie Mack, and he sent that to me, and that was the beginning of all the awesomeness. I was able to finally start printing everything that I designed.
And that's how you got. I mean, but you got to start somewhere. And I love the story how you wanted to find an affordable way to get into it. You dip your toes in. You kind of, and you've iterated and you've improved and you're learning. And it's not. I think you have a good story here about finding a way, even if you don't have a large budget, to throw at the hobby, right? Like there's something for everybody.
Right. And so it's been a journey for sure, and it's been an awesome journey, and I've made so many new friends, and I mean I can say that honestly that these people are my friends, even though most of them I've never actually gotten the chance to shake their hand or anything, and actually the CDC would advise against that right now.
This close,
right? High five from a distance, but yeah. So there's as far as I got with the resin print, and even it, you can see that's loose. It's really loose.
Yeah,
it snaps in, but it doesn't have
belly dancing.
Yeah. Hey, that's not always a bad thing, right? It's like,
but hey, this is good. So this could be the next adventure. So starting with a more refined, tighter tolerance, articulated character. So
right,
so go ahead.
I tried to get in on the Elegoo Saturn pre-order, and I was not one of the fortunate ones to make it happen.
So there's There's some funny stuff going on in the chats. First of all, off access FPV. He said, wait, who's at the edge of tech, Nerdy J or the Pooch? so
I think you left the C off of Pooch.
Yeah. And earlier, what's funny is earlier everyone's blown up on the RC stuff, right?
Right.
And which is amazing because that's a whole nother like maker community we don't even talk about very often, and we really should. But earlier he's like, Weird Al. He called me Weird Al, and then something. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I've started something. Where's it at? There it is. Let's see if I can share my screen with you for a minute here. Let me.
Ooh, sneak peeks.
Share screen.
Go full, Jim.
Allow.
Oh, yep. There you go.
So talking about RC stuff, I started working on something.
Is it an Oshkosh? It looks like
a big gosh.
The HEMTT. Oh. But this is my own thing.
Yeah.
Kind of do the same job.
Nice.
But as you can see, I've taken the components from the OpenRC and started planning for this to be RC.
That's fantastic, man. That's going to be great.
Cool.
So you're thinking maybe utilize the OpenRC, so because why reinvent the wheel, right?
Right.
And then if somebody wants to,
because RC. Daniel's already put all of this research and development into RC system that works.
Right.
And works beautifully, obviously.
Right.
So, and it's an open source thing, so there's no reason not to use it.
I could crash that.
Well, it's interesting too, because the chassis was obviously originally designed for an F1, but why not, right? And
it needed to be a big vehicle because I think the OpenRC is 1/10 scale.
Yeah.
So in order for me not to have to rescale stuff, because I wanted it to be able to, you buy the same motors and battery and all that stuff.
Right.
So I needed it to be on a large vehicle. Well, so I started designing, I pulled this stuff in and then started trying to design a vehicle around it. And, that's why
nice. That's very
the thing that I'm trying to bring to the table with it is steering both front wheels. Front axles.
That's interesting. How does that work when you have multiple front? Because they aren't moving in the same plane.
Well,
like a vehicle designer.
They do. They turn the same direction.
Right.
The difference, but one of them doesn't turn as much as the other. That's where the engineering is going to have to come in a little bit.
Interesting.
Nice. I've been chatting with Ryan Buttram on that, and he thinks we can make this happen. So he's been kind of giving me some input there.
Is there speaking of flying? So it's like we talk about RC because there's a lot of driven. We've seen Buttram. Talking about Ryan Buttram. He did the Open RV, which was a Murph, which was really funny.
Which is why I reached out to him when I started doing this and go, okay, man, how do I make this work?
And is anybody doing an open source drone design? Because I know that I've seen some 3D printed canopies, but a lot of them are using still carbon fiber part kits and stuff like that. Has anybody actually created a drone that could be an open source printable drone? Somebody?
I think I was checking out there to see if there's some. I know there's some frames and stuff out there. I'm not sure. I didn't. Let's see. Greg says, yeah, there's some guys.
Somebody's got to be doing
that. Yeah. So I was gonna say, I thought I saw some full projects. That would be a heck of a fun print. Now that I'm starting to play with those a little more, I think it would be cool. And then Lindsay wouldn't be so mad if I could just print the stuff when I break it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then when you inevitably crash it,
it will happen. Yeah,
print another one, right?
Yeah.
So Tanner, we've only got. We could go on forever with all of Tanner's stuff, but I know we're going into some HotMakes. Just one last question I had, if that's okay.
Yeah.
You've been doing Blender now for 2 years, right?
Right.
So how have you seen Blender evolve? And if you were starting over now and would you recommend this tool to somebody?
It is far easier to get into Blender now than it was to get into Blender 2 years ago.
Right.
Back when I got into Blender, it was version 2.7 something.
Right.
Now we're on 2.8. They totally changed the user interface. They totally changed
So just that dot one has been a huge jump for them.
So
Right. It is so much more user friendly now, and it's getting even better with each passing version. They've already got the alpha release version out for 2.9 that you can download and play with.
Wow.
So here's a question.
It's a cross-platform. It's a cross-platform thing, right? So you, no matter what, that's great. So accessible, and then Blender does a lot more than just 3D modeling too, right? I mean, isn't it just like
you can do 3D sculpting, animation, game development stuff, whatever. I mean,
all right,
and it's all free.
Tell you what, so since you're into vehicles, this is a great segue. Now let me share my screen real quick. I was just curious. Do you think you could, 3D print or design a spool racer? Because I really think you could. I mean, as you can see here, Pooch is clearly over the line. And
right.
Yeah, anybody can draw a line, man.
You know what's funny is that what's funny is Chuck is never here to defend himself when you talk about this, but he's here now.
Brought him in.
So Chuck, bring him in.
Hey, Chuck.
I want to see Ricky Tanner design a spool racer that Pooch can't do this to. Chuck, how you doing?
Good. I know how to draw a straight line, as you can see.
Yeah.
The line doesn't show, Chuck, and is this like, look at the line of attack on your vehicle versus mine and where the trend is there.
Well, yeah. I saw this. This pushing going. That's what I saw. That's what I know. This is what I saw. What the?
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
To be fair, Chuck didn't design the piece of lumber that he was straddling, rolling down the thing for our hand-to-hand combat. So
that's true.
Oh, well,
it's not good for lateral stability.
It was not designed for lateral stability.
He also didn't design the. Let's see if I can bring this in. He didn't design the what is it called? The Band-Aids he needed. The crutches.
Oh no.
Let's see. So it's funny because
a frame for something like that, but then you're not going to have a printer large enough to print it in one piece. So then there's going to be some glooping involved.
Lots of glooping.
Yes, lots of.
Glooping. It's a good challenge. I mean, it could be done, but obviously it would need some. Well, first of all, Chuck, and I mean this in the most flattering way. Chuck is not a small individual, so having something reinforce his structure. I mean, as a Vesny Trophy, candidate son, played hockey himself, coaches hockey. Yeah,
right. I think here's the problem.
Physically outmatched, first of all, there too.
Here's physically outmatched. Let me show you the proof I have, because I think many people never saw this clear footage. Okay, let me share some audio.
Was this behind the scenes, never before seen? Footage?
Yeah, this is never before seen. Actually, I'm going to leave us in there so we can see the reaction. So we got a racer that goes down. Okay, now this is Chuck and Pooch.
The tuck. Look at the tuck.
Yeah. The tuck is.
He was obviously coming into my lane.
So, wait a minute. So let me just back this up a little bit.
It never gets old. Yeah. That's where you went wrong, Chuck. Right there.
So my favorite part of the whole thing, besides the tuck and roll, is Pooch at the end of this. You ready?
Yeah. Look at how long before he has any concerns. Yeah, look at he looks back. Oh, did I hurt you? Way back there. He's such a good friend. So, I won. Oh, you okay back there?
Yeah. well, Rubbin is racing, but
what that doesn't show is I ran back as quickly as I could. We hugged it out. He had I think he might have lost a pocket out of his jeans and got a little road rash, though. I felt bad about that for quite a while.
Someone said you got pooched.
Thankfully, his wallet was very thick and padded. Broke his fall, right, Chuck?
Yeah,
I love it. So I know we were. Oh, sorry. I know we were about to go on to some HotMakes, and you're welcome to hang out with us, Chuck, if you want to check out the HotMakes with us. Have you ever met Ricky Tanner? Where is he? Or
not in person?
Well, yeah, not in person. We've conversed on Twitter before. I believe you You helped me with an issue I was having with my printer at one
That
point.
sounds like Chuck. He's a
Yes.
helper.
Was it an Ender 3?
No, I don't own an Ender 3.
That's what I was helping him with. Buy an Ender.
There you go.
I think it was an issue I was having with the S4.
Nice.
Probably a Cura issue or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
There we go.
I'm always trying to help people. I just,
It's
get more people
nature.
printing. That's all we're trying to do. Get more people printing.
So I've been planning this with Chuck for a while, and we were ready to do it. And then Pooch texts me, "Hey, I can't be on the stream tonight."
Oh, you were going to ambush me last week.
Yeah. So I was like, "Oh, can you join us tomorrow? Just jump in around 6:30. We'll have some fun with this." So Pooch had no idea Chuck was coming, and it's funny because every time someone brings this up, it seems like Chuck's never around to defend himself.
We had Chuck on. We had Chuck on the catch up a while back, and we had some fun with it then. But Chuck knows I love him, and it's always good to see him.
Wait,
I love it.
Glad you're well, buddy. You hanging in?
This is a joke we have now stretched out, a year and a half. And
Just kick that. Well, until we have
It's going to last until the rematch.
Yeah,
Right.
It has to be a rematch.
exactly.
Well, and I heard Carl built a 2-seater.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I haven't
Really?
seen the pictures yet, but someone was saying Carl built a 2-seater. I don't know if he's in the chat, but yeah. But yeah, are you gonna hang? I mean, you're free to hang out for some HotMakes. We're about to jump in and check out some cool stuff. If not, we totally understand. This was last minute, and I forgot to tell Chuck Central, so I jumped on at like 5:30 to make sure I'm fired up before I went and changed and stuff. And I was like, "Hey, you're early." He's like, "Well, you told me 6:30." I was like, "No." So
we're across the country here. You got West Coast, Central. Let's see, Chuck. You're Central.
East Coast. No, I'm East.
You're
we
Michigan.
got it all. We got it all
Michigan
covered.
counts as East Coast. You're like right on the line. No.
Yeah, Chicago is where I kind of separate.
Right.
East is
Okay.
Chicago.
All right.
That's where
Good.
I am.
Well, it's
Yeah,
always good seeing you, man.
I'll hang around for another 20 minutes
Good.
or so, and then I gotta
Nice.
go.
Yeah.
We got about that. I'm gonna jump in, but
So
nice.
20 minutes, Pooch, you just push me out of the scene, and I'll be fine.
You gotta put me down next to him, and then we'll shove him out of there.
I love it. Oh, let's do this. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting some HotMakes. Is it hot or not? Whew. All right. So the first one we got tonight is from someone we haven't featured yet today. Or today. Not today for sure, not today, but ever. And it's actually a chef's cutlass. I thought that came out pretty awesome. It was tagged as HotMakes, and I love showing off other stuff. Especially, I love metalworking, and forging. So this is awesome.
Look at that, man. Look at so. Was this like? I'm assuming it was cast.
I think he forged it. Yeah, it's hand forged.
Oh, it's hand forged. So it's like,
oh boy,
one.
Whoa, Pooch just went all robot on us again.
And you guys ever do some Chuck? You ever do any forging?
I've done a little bit, but I tell you what, blacksmithing is something I would love to spend more time on.
Oh,
In fact, there's a place local here where they kind of teach it. And before COVID, I was actually going to go do that. So COVID screwed that up for me.
Our local community college has a blacksmithing thing, and it's driven because there's this one guy that did it, and he just started teaching there. Otherwise, I think that's the thing. You got to have somebody with that skill willing to run the class. But I remember thinking the same thing. I'm like, man, that would be so cool to try.
Yeah, no, I love it. I've told my wife that if I lived.
So give me 1 second, guys. I'm having some crazy. You guys sound like robots to me.
Oh, okay. Sound good here.
Yeah, it's clear here.
Weird.
I think it's you.
It probably is me. It probably is. It did this last time, last week when we dropped, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. It did this to me too. But I can still hear you as long as no one else sounds robot-y. I'll deal with it.
All right, let's go.
All right, next, another forge. Heat treating a very first hammer. Look at that thing. Here.
Wow. I mean, that's a good, useful tool right there, man. I would not want to be on the business end of that.
Maybe Chuck could use this in your next spool race.
I'm not racing if he's using
Hammer
that.
time.
Yeah.
Too funny.
And is he doing what's he doing for the handle there? I can't tell. The contrast is a little weird for me. Is he doing a wood handle?
That looks like wood. It looks like wood.
Huh. I would
Yeah,
imagine for that to work, you got to put like a split in there to
yeah, probably.
Neat.
Jimmy, have you guys watched Jimmy DeResta? He does a lot of this stuff.
Has he been doing a lot of really? I didn't realize.
On and off, he does knives all the time. But he's done.
I remember
a few
when
hammers.
he did the big the giant razor blade.
Yeah, he sells those things.
Yeah. Did you pick one up in the
No,
nice
yeah.
leather? Yeah.
No, I haven't. But he did a hammer not that long ago, and yeah, he did with the wedge and everything. It was pretty cool how he did it. So this is interesting.
Nice.
That is a hot make because
Hot. It literally is a hot.
Nice. I tell you what, give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm gonna drop you out and bring you back in. I literally can't understand now.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we could understand.
All right.
Any better?
No,
Not
I'll
any
deal
better.
with it. I'll deal with it.
Just we all sound good to each other. You sound fine to us.
Yeah, it must be. It just must be my side.
Did it start when I came in?
What?
It's blame Chuck. Hashtag blame Chuck.
Hey, wait! It just went better.
Okay, good.
I have no idea what it's the craziest thing. You sound like an Autobot for a while, and then all of a sudden, anyways, Maker Noob. This was awesome.
Oh, that is cool.
Did you guys see this? Ricky? Have you gotten into painting at all? Any of your models?
I've never used an airbrush. I want to.
Yeah,
and that's probably going to happen when after I get to the new space. But there's a lot of things that have to take place first.
What about you, Chuck? You ever do any painting?
Like years ago. My wife's the artist. She does all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the attention span or steady hand for that.
I'm a broad strokes guy. So Noob just did a new space. If you guys hadn't seen it,
yep.
And just spent all kinds of time getting his little paint space done.
His paint rack there is amazing. My wife's got all that on racks
right here. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
awesome.
Cool.
All right. I'm gonna kind of rifle through these.
We're gonna do a speed round.
Yeah.
Speed round.
This was awesome.
Oh, I love this
Evan
one.
and Caitlin, they had to do one, and it turned out awesome, huh?
Yeah. What is it? Tensergy table?
Tengrity or
Tensegrity, like integrity.
There you go.
Did you guys see this?
This was awesome. I think this is super hot. Let's see. I can do this
and everything. Grab the two inner posts. She's super rigid. What?
Really?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I try tilting it and everything. Grab the two inner posts.
Oh, it's heavy. Dang!
I know, right?
It moves as one unit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty awesome.
Had you guys seen that design before or heard of a tensegrity table before?
Yeah, it's like the thing that's going around right now. I think like 5 or 6 big YouTubers have done it recently.
Yeah, I've seen that all over the place. Theirs was more wires than I've seen, but it's like a tension bridge, isn't it?
Right. Right. Yeah. So it's like obviously that rigid component there where you're actually using tension between the two are critical to it. But yeah, they talk about that in the video that a lot of the designs you see will only use like 4 wires or something like that. And somebody designed one that made it even more rigid. And I think they used a really thick nylon line, like a fishing line, like a heavy gauge fishing line. Just for that. But they always do amazing stuff. I love that.
Right. All right. What do we got next year? Oh, this was cool.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, this was it was made in PLA plus red for the chassis wheels, wheel hubs and caps. So this is right up Ricky Tanner's alley here.
Yeah.
There you go. Another toy for the kids.
So now Ian did that. Now whose design is that?
This looks like I'm guessing.
You think it's Ian's?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, love it. That's cool.
Yeah,
and he did TPU. Cool. Have you played with TPU at all for the tires or anything?
I haven't yet. I plan to.
Yeah. And you have a direct drive now on one of those, right?
Right.
So that's good.
Yeah. After putting the direct drive on the S4, it's ready to do that. So,
Chuck, you've done a little TPU, right?
I've done a lot of TPU with Bowden. I use the Easy R extruder, CNC extruder on Ender 3. You just print a little slower, but it works great.
Right.
Well, you could You could print that on the $99 toy printer, and you'd be awesome, right?
Yeah, that's a direct drive. Yeah, so that printed amazingly. That's about all it did amazingly well.
So
that's your go-to mini TPU machine. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I printed a phone case on that thing. 2 pieces, I fit together. But
it would have to be because the build volume on it was nothing.
Small.
Right?
Small yeah.
So this is the Impossible Eiffel Tower. Let's see if I can pull up the actual print here.
There
we go.
It's
there
using the same 10 seconds.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. But look at all the different pieces that. So I might have to try this. I chatted or I tagged it and said I might have to try this. It looks really cool.
I hadn't seen that before. That's amazing. For some reason, it reminds me of that old game Barrel of Monkeys. Just
that is true. Yeah.
What'd be cool if you could do that without shut off retraction, let the strings.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Stringy nightmare, right?
Exactly.
Here's another one. Extruder knob was really loose. Decided to design. Wow, a hex bolt head for it. Why not? So that's kind of cool.
There you go.
I thought that was a really good functional print. Nice work.
So it's a hex bolt to tighten his extruder. How does that
It's just an extruder knob where you could turn it with your fingers, right? But if you really want to, you could throw the hex in there, I suppose.
I guess. Talk about over torquing something. Yeah. All right.
Another noob. Oh man, the Butterfly Dragon by Fotis Mint, and I believe he hand painted. Like getting back into painting. Here you go. Look at this. Look at that.
He paints. He honestly, I didn't realize Noob had the painting skills that he does. But yeah,
that's talent.
Yeah, that came out amazing.
It's phenomenal. I couldn't even start to think about that.
He loves that Zarbo too. That's like one of his go-to printers right now. Yeah.
Right. Nice work. Next, what we got here? The Ronin cosplay. Someone tagged this one. Check this out.
Holy cow.
I mean,
is that a headpiece? What is that?
Look at the
here.
There we go.
It looks like, I think it's a God of War cosplay with leather. Let's see. I think it's multiple pieces, right? But
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like. Is it? It says 3D print, so
there's the headpiece. There we go.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Whoa!
Wow, that's a lot of work.
Wow.
Seriously.
Phenomenal. I mean, holy moly. That must be like maybe shoulders. I'm guessing shoulder parts or something. And
it'd be pretty amazing to someday create a museum of like the 3D print Hall of Fame, or just like all the like classic, things that showed up featured on Thingiverse, and like, oh man, there'd be just so much stuff.
Right.
Amazing.
Wow. Hotness. Hot. Everybody's saying hot. That is phenomenal. Nice work. The Ronin cosplay, first time on the channel, and nice work, man. All right, what do we got? Chris Kersey also did the dragon here. There we go. And he looks like he just printed it in the Caribbean blue filament from 3D Fuel. But nice work on that, Chris. This must be the new thing, right? The dragon.
I hadn't seen this model before. Where is it? Whose model?
3D Thingiverse. Should we go to it? Let's go
Blue
check.
Dragon.
I'll go to it.
So I see that's a good paint job. Look at that.
That's cool. The Blue Dragon. It looks like a whole bunch of pieces too, so that's cool.
See, I see a print like that, and Chuck, you can probably speak to this too, but like when you get those prints, right, where you're getting a really tall and fanning, and you're just doing a little bit, and it zips over here, and then you'll start to. I mean, that's a good indicator of how dialed your printer is too, because it really doesn't take a lot if you're hitting the tip of one of those wings, if you're off,
right,
to knock something free or to get a layer shift. So it's always interesting to see how those kind of things turn out.
Yeah, I always look at the spots when you could see where it's rough, where you had supports.
Right.
That's always a pain. But those teeth, getting those teeth to print and then everything else to be smooth.
Yeah.
That's a tough one to print, actually.
Yeah. So we see a lot of models with a large underbite, right? No, there must be a bunch of support going on in there, or they have separate teeth for the.
I think Ricky could probably tell us how hard that probably was to model.
Or to print.
That'd be a tough one.
Modeling is
Or
easy.
the print, yeah. Here you go. Another first, I think, on the channel. This is in resin and dyed with alcohol inks, and this came out. Check that out. I mean,
That's beautiful.
It's
So
like the
cool.
revitalization of stained glass art.
yeah, I was just
Yeah.
thinking the same thing.
That's
That's
incredible.
phenomenal. Nice work. I think who was it? We had Garrett from 3D Print Farm on, and he did a video on, the alcohol on
The alcohol inks, yeah.
and man, I just love it. It looks awesome. Again, like you said, looks like stained glass. Nice work. I want to say Juka. We'll call it Juka.
Yucca.
Say Juka. Sure.
Very cool.
Nice work. Oh yeah, this one. Come on, get out of here.
Daryl.
with this.
Yeah, I mean, Daryl always does next level stuff.
Yeah, Daryl's stuff is awesome.
Daryl is, and this was on the Phenom L. That is just sick.
Wow.
Yeah, you see something from Daryl, you know it's going to be good. So
Yeah, I mean, and I think
it's an instant hot make just because it came from Daryl.
when I think it was printed in one shot on the Phenom L, and I think this is straight off the printer, right?
Probably. It's pretty big.
I'm pretty sure it is. I thought I was reading that.
I don't know
Something
that you've probably, Jim, at this point done more resin work than it. Because Chuck, you're not doing much in the way of resin, are you?
No, but I did get a Phenom.
You did.
Yeah, we just got it not too long ago, so I'll be starting to play with that.
Nice.
And
Tanner, you don't have one yet, but you're looking at it.
Right. I tried to get in on that the Elegoo Saturn pre-order thing and failed.
when you're ready, Ricky, let me know. We can work something out.
And now I'm moving, and so I'm not buying anything. Until after we
Wait till you're moved and settled and all that. But we can work something out. I definitely might be able.
He's about to learn about what the term house pour means. Right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's you save money for like 10 years to make this happen, and then you spend it all in one shot. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a big step.
Another really, sorry, this is another real cool idea. I always love the craft of woodworking, but I don't have the space for it. But I do have a 3D printing and Fusion 360. So these pens are 3D printed.
Oh, that's cool.
Awesome. It looks awesome. I love them. I know we've featured some other pen designs on here too.
So yeah, I've seen a lot of what. So obviously you can just buy those kits for wood turning, and then he just did his own 3D print model for it, huh?
Yeah, it must be, and it's so cool the different designs they came up with on this. That's pretty awesome. Nice work. Oh boy, Chris Travis,
favorite.
I saw him in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if he's still around, but man, I love this. Might be one of my next prints here because of my clock spring addiction. I have 4 sitting in front of me right now, but this
I would kill to do a collab with Clock Spring. There's so many things I would love to try to make happen, and I don't have the slightest clue how to design it.
Look at this.
At least pick his brain and get some ideas on how he makes all that stuff print in place and fully functional.
Right. And then getting gear trains, like there's work to getting, that kind of, I mean, Chuck, you were in the automotive industry for years and stuff like that. You know what goes into like actually engineering functional transmission gear trains, stuff like that. And he just makes it look so effortless and it's just for fun. But
they're incredible designs. You look at them and you go, and then like you said, Rick, it's print in place. It's like, wow.
Yeah. Which print in place with no supports and functional. I'm like, okay, I really need to know how you do this.
It's the trifecta of design challenges, right?
Right.
And beautiful, too.
I love the clock spring stuff. Oh, this is the poop cocky. Llama. So we featured almost all, well, I probably can't even say that now because we haven't. They've come up with some crazy stuff, but someone came up with the poop cocky. I had to put it on here.
It's a good mashup.
Yeah. It's a good match. Now they're putting Chris Warcocky on everything.
Yes.
And by everything, I mean everything. And we won't go into more of that. But yeah. Next, another Daryl, work in progress, almost done. Look at this.
That's insane.
Come on.
Now, I think he does his design work in Cinema 4D.
Right. Which is a very expensive package, right? I mean, that's the opposite of what you're talking about.
It's not cheap, that's for sure.
Accessibility. but I think he had it licensed for something he was doing professionally, I feel like, in the past or whatever.
Yeah.
But you look at these renders, right? And so talk to me really quick, Ricky. Blender, as far as like material render and texture and that kind of stuff, is there stuff there, or is
you can do it. I just typically don't. There is a movie on Netflix. I think it's called Next Gen.
Yep.
And it was created entirely in Blender.
That sounds like it would take a lot of work.
It's an animated movie, and it was created entirely in Blender, and it's on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to put that on the watch list.
All right. We got about four or five more here.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Another noob here, right? 30 hours.
3 HotMakes for noob this week. Yeah, I just tagged that one today, though. Like that, I didn't even believe that was painting because the way he photographed that, I'm like, this looks like a rendering, right?
It does look like a render. It's.
I can't believe that's airbrush, right? But he just had it on a black background. I don't know.
Y'all are going to make me go buy an airbrush after I get moved. Learn how to do this.
For you, honestly, for the stuff you do, that would be an investment, my friend, in your craft for sure.
Well, because I used to draw and paint and all that. When I got out of high school, I had a scholarship offer to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. That was art was my thing, but I didn't want to go to Chicago.
I could see my wife doing this, but not I just know my my limitations. I don't have the attention span. It would be all
for the time.
It would be like, hey, look at this. Psh, yes. I could.
Well, and I used to paint like the tabletop miniatures. I used to paint and sell BattleTech miniatures back in the day. So
right. Wow. Oh, here's another one. This one's for Pooch.
I love that. Well, this is one of Fallout is one of my favorite game franchises there is. Yeah.
Look at this. So good.
Weathered.
Looks like it's made out of iron, and you dug it up in the backyard.
I think he just buried it in his yard. Right? He bought that a year ago. That's a 2. That's a V2.
So wait, you're telling me this is how the ret boxes weather? Like this is how they age?
Yes.
It's like wine, That's phenomenal. Nice work. I love
good weathering job.
I thought that was pretty awesome.
Well, there's
like
a lot
prop
more to that.
quality.
I can't wait to see because he's going to feature that at Virtual Earth.
Nice.
And he kind of clued me into some of the other stuff he's doing for it, and then I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, that's like
filament looks like
prop
inside.
quality.
Right.
Here's another really cool one from Chris at Practical Printing.
And it's designed to print on the Mini.
Right.
Have you Chuck? You saw the Mini when they showed it off at Earth last year, right?
The Prusa Mini?
Yeah.
I don't have one.
No, I know you don't have one, but didn't you have a chance to see it when it was?
Oh yeah. When it first came out.
Yeah. So I just got it. So I ordered it. I was a little later on order, but I literally just got mine.
Right.
And
looks awesome.
I know you're a huge fan of the Ender 3, and for the money, it's hard to beat. But looking at what you get for the Mini,
I think Prusa's stuff's good. I'm not.
It's a contender
at all. I think the Mini's awesome. And some of the features, like he was the first one to have a 32-bit, right? 32-bit low-cost printer. Now Ender's coming there, but he led the charge in that. So
he did.
No, I think it's a great printer. I will get one eventually.
And it's a 3-bolt assemble, so it comes effectively fully assembled. So it's a little more than the Ender, but for the support and the community and stuff like that, I think it's a real contender at that price point now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little bit, but smaller build area, which he's shown, but still,
it is a little. It is.
Can do. That's what's cool about this. Look what you can do with it. So it's
right.
That's cool.
Nice. Oh yeah. Oh god. This video here was funny already. If chickens had arms, right? And then you go and tag me in this, and it's people putting toy arms on chickens.
It's just toy arms for chickens. It's something goofy I added, but I'm like, okay, why not?
Do you think you could design this, Ricky? I mean, like, let's throw some arms on there.
Sure. Yeah, but at least like make them look mechanical or something, so it looks like there's this like
not just creepy baby arms
Like
hanging out.
bionic robot
Articulate,
chicken.
you know, so you can pose them in different ways, or like at least have one like holding
Some articulation
a can in a koozie or something, you know.
Too good. It's too good. Wait, let's do this again. If you have not seen this, it's hilarious. If just look up if chickens had arms or if birds have arms. Yeah, the sounds, the noise, it's hilarious. All right.
There you go. Yeah.
Last
It'd be
but not
funny if one of them was eating a drumstick.
Yeah.
last but not least, Matthew Nicholas, I believe that's how you say it. Designed some really cool stuff here. It's a work in progress on a geisha piece. Let's see.
From Ghost in the Machine. Okay.
Inspired by Ghost in the Machine film, printed in the filamentum. But I mean, look at this.
Wow.
I'm actually gonna pop this full screen just so we can. There we go. You can see it a little better because there's a lot of intricate stuff inside of here. But I mean, phenomenal stuff.
That's wild.
And there's more shots. I mean,
so I'm guessing those holes are like registration marks for lining up the pieces to snap them in. It looks like
something.
It'll be interesting to see how that evolves. You know, that's great.
Right, that's phenomenal. So I
very cool.
I think I saw him in the. Maybe I thought I saw him in the chat earlier. I'm not sure. But if you are, shoot us some updates. We'd love to see this going forward. Let's see how it turns out, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm really bad at going back. Here's a close up. There you go. That's a little better. That's cool. I just thought it was super awesome. And look at this. I mean, you see it.
Oh
wow.
Oh.
The intricacies around. I just don't.
You know what would be crazy?
The amount of hours that have to go into the detail on these things is just insane.
What would be awesome is if this is like a cuckoo clock. It opened up like, it opened up like this with the mouth.
Wow.
No, phenomenal work. And I know I didn't even realize that these were all here. It does open up. That's creepy and awesome at the same time.
Those pins, it looks like are hinges, it would seem.
Nice work. I mean, this is phenomenal. It was a long project for sure. It's done.
I want a screenshot of Ricky, like the Ricky approved thumbs up. I need the shirt.
Let's see.
That'd be good merch. Yeah, there you go. There's the inspiration. Ugh.
Yeah.
Wow,
so he's chatting. He is chatting right now, and he's saying it was a long project and it's done now. So. But that, I mean, nice work. I bet. How many hours, since you're in the chat, I know we got to wrap it up soon, but how many hours of time and everything do you have into this project? I'd be curious to know. But what do you guys think? I mean, the amount of design in this alone is probably ridiculous.
It's incredible. And then to get the mechanical pieces to fit and move like that, it's just there's so much to that. Those aren't straight edges, so it's wow.
Yeah, Joel loves it. I think the thing that's interesting about this is I think it speaks to the value of really honing your 3D modeling skills, specifically if you have something that can do assemblies like a Fusion. And I don't know what Blender's ability in terms of assemblies are, but obviously the more you can do to play with assembly and fitment in the digital realm, the more time you're going to save having to print and check fitment and all that stuff, but which you're still going to not get quite right because it's never quite the same, like Ricky can attest to once you're dealing with
there's always iteration.
Yep. He said it's not his design, by the way, just his art and finishing. Okay.
Just amazing, though.
I mean, don't say just your art and
painted and stuff as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, you can't say just your art and finishing because that was, I mean,
it was painted to perfection.
That was awesome. Show us if you can chat, tag in the chat who the designer was if you still have that on hand, because I'd love to check out some more of their stuff. But I just showed up to tease Pooch. Nice.
That was my whole job. I did it.
That's right. That's right. Well, and it's funny because
never ending.
I didn't tell anybody. And then we were like getting set up for last week, and Pooch's like, "Hey, I can't be on." I was like, "Oh no, I have to." So I'm chatting. Hey, Pooch bailed on me. Can we do it next week? And if you have time, let me know. Otherwise, we'll find another week. And it was awesome. So thank you for that. I know we're a little over, but I really appreciate you jumping on to give Pooch a hard time. And I mean, anytime we can do that is a good time, right?
Exactly.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Always good to see Chuck.
There was a few HotMess. There's 4 HotMesses, and
should we save it for next week?
Yeah, let's get to those next week. I apologize if I didn't show it and I tagged you today. Join us next week. I'll make sure I show it. But thank you so much to Ricky Tanner for jumping on. I am super curious for more of your design info. I know you're on a lot of the streams. I know there's an after stream. I don't know if you're jumping on that one after this. I think DB3D is doing it, Dan over there. And it's really cool to jump on it and watch you guys actually design on stream. So if you guys check out some of these people that are streaming out there, once in a while Ricky pops in there and he does design stuff right on stream too. So
maybe I do streams on my own channel, just haven't recently.
Yeah.
I've been battling with, it's like an anxiety about starting my own stream. I'll jump into somebody else's stream, no problem. But I seem to have anxiety of setting up my own for some reason.
You know what? I tell you what, start up your own. I'll jump on with you. We'll get you in, then I'll just bail. And then
all right.
What he'll do is he'll push you by yourself, and then you'll take off.
I'll push myself out. But listen, really quick, guys. If you're not already following Tanner3D, go do it now. You won't regret it. Check him out on Patreon. Yes. He has a ton of awesome models on there. If you're into any of the toys, the cars, like Ricky's got some serious talent there. Obviously, check out Filament Friday and all the Chet stuff as well. Really good.
He is like the hero profile king.
There it is.
There it is. And I did in the description of the video, there's a couple things. Number one, there's links to Ricky Tanner's website and Twitter, I believe, Tanner3D. And also there's a doc. If it's a Google Doc, you can go in and you can see all of the stuff we showed today as well. So you can go back and it links all the Twitter stuff. So go check that out. And then what I'll do is when we're done with the stream, now that the surprise is out, I'll actually drop Chep's links in there too. So you guys can find him, but I didn't want to spoil it at all because I thought the moment had to be good, And what were you surprised? Did you know?
No, I had no idea, and I'm actually a little bit fearful for the rematch because there's so many people gunning for me at this point. It's gonna need to be in a full suit of armor. I'm gonna get find some printed armor to wear or something. I don't know.
It's gonna be like Fast and the Furious where all these other spool racers surround you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have this one. And if you get Carl, like I said, I think he has a 2-seater. I know before we knew Murph was canceled and everything, I actually reached out to Chuck and I said, "Hey, if I build one, can I race with you guys?" And he's like, "Sure." And then it never happened. So
we've done so much to promote the sport, right, Chuck? Now we've got other people. There's actually a potential that we're gonna have, heats.
We have
it'd be great because for what 2 years there I was by myself. Finally, Pooch, you built one, and so that's what was great. I finally had someone to race. It was a joke. It started out as a joke. What am I gonna do with these spools? And make that stupid spool race, like a kid. And it's turned into this, so it's fun. It's just a lot of fun. So I hope we get more. I hope we get a lot.
I really do too.
Heats and a whole bit, and then I can retire and become, I'll hand out the trophy.
I like the Richard Petty of spool racing. Somebody just
That's right. I'll get a hat and sunglasses. And, exactly.
We could socially distant spool race. It's totally possible.
How does that work? I'd be like, I win. Just fake the
you would race next to each other. You just can't crash.
Virtual spool racing. Yeah.
The CDC would advise against the Pooch shove. Right.
This is a good one. Chuck is the founding father of spool racing. What was joke turned into one of the most notorious 3D printing things ever.
Yes. Really, not even a lot of 3D. It's like he took some spools, put it on there. So I suspect we're going to see more and more 3D printing elements actually involved. Right. Maybe we need to think about writing up an official rule guide because a lot of people ask. The first thing I ask is like, why not print some TPU tires for that thing or whatever? And You know, you're
Wait,
like
wait.
the purity of it is it's the spool,
Yeah.
right? It's
There's no
Right.
spools. It just has to have spools for wheels, right?
Right, exactly.
So Ricky,
In fact, I don't think I made it. The spool never survived. There was one year I brought it, and Barnacles was pushing me, and Joel was interviewing me, and the spools just exploded while we're pushing it. I don't think I've ever had it, survive. But that's part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the fun.
But that's why Pooch got the big spools on his.
But I'll tell you what, I don't know, because it seems like they degrade over time. I was looking at them the other day, and I'm like, I don't know if I trust these for another season. So I may have
they grind down instantly.
Well, they grind down, and I think something about just the plastic over time too, probably from the temperature, because it just seemed more brittle. Because I grabbed some of the front spools, and it was too easy.
What I'm gonna do is I got some of those Vision Miner metal spools coming, and I'm gonna no.
You're gonna be throwing sparks.
Yeah. But Ricky, I'm gonna have you design me some spinners.
Jesus.
Full size spinners. We'll bling it
Mad
out.
Max.
Show no go.
Yeah.
We're gonna
all
have
Mad Max
the
out
blades sticking off the side like they used to do on the Roman chariots.
I like it too. I think we should have a 2-seater edition or like a more than one. It's like bobsled, right? You got the 1-man and then the 4-man and 4-man spool racing. It looked like tank treads. Why not?
Oh my gosh. We got one guy that pushes and then jumps on the back. The whole thing just explodes as soon as he does it.
Why not? It's only good fun, right?
Nice.
All
All
right,
right, guys. Well, I gotta get going. The baby is probably awake by now, if not long ago. But I really appreciate you guys all hanging out with me. Thank you so much, Ricky. I keep calling you Tanner. It's just a thing.
It's in the title.
Thank you so much to Ricky from Tanner3D and Chep. Thanks for the fun. That was a lot of fun to mess with Pooch.
It's always fun.
I'm glad to have you on again. And Alien Josh says, "Can I turn my 1,000 spools into a bus?" Sure, bring a bus. I'm in.
Why not?
But thank you guys all for hanging out with us in chat. I really appreciate it. We will see you next Monday, 6 p.m. Central. Chuck, my fault. And we will see you then. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget, like Pooch said, to check out Tanner3D everywhere. Check out Filament Friday. And Chuck's
get yourself a rep box, right?
And get a rep box, yeah. And
thanks, Chuck.
If you do something really cool to it, like we saw tonight, tag us and we'll put it on here. Because we want to see
that. That was awesome.
That should be the contest. If you have a rep box,
it's not about that.
It would just be a fun contest to see what people did to it.
Yeah, well, there's enough of them out there now. Maybe it could be. Who knows?
Yeah, we'd have like 6 entrants.
Wah,
I can't say anything. I have 2 right here. Anyways, you guys have a great night. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We will see you next time. You guys hang in there. I'll be right back with you. And later, everybody. See you later.
Everybody.